A lot of strong writers lose points on the academic discussion task, even though their writing is logical. They're not making grammatical mistakes, they're not lacking vocabulary. But some of them go off topic. And the reason is usually very simple. They don't read the question carefully enough to see what the answer is supposed to reach. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how academic discussion questions are structured, why people go off topic, and how to avoid that mistake. In the next video, not this one, but the next video, I'll explain how AI scoring actually evaluates discourse cohesion and syntactic variety, and why that is very different from how humans or ChatGPT judge writing. That difference is exactly why many confident writers feel frustrated when they don't get, say, a perfect score. By the way, my name is Lee E. I've taught TOEFL for the past 8 years, and I recently took the new TOEFL a couple of days ago, and I've also been studying the official paid practice tests. What I'm showing you comes from patterns I've seen in those 8 paid practice tests and other official materials. So here is the core idea for today. If you don't sense where the question expects your answer to end, you can write something logical, fluent, and still be off topic. That's the main problem we're fixing in this video. So let's quickly look at the academic discussion question format. You'll see a professor introduce a question. Then you'll see 2 students respond with partial opinions, like this. The professor's wording defines what counts as being on topic. Like, which option do you think offers great long-term personal stability and why? You can choose to support one of the student's idea and add your own reasoning to show your support, or simply state which point of view you agree with and elaborate. 3 question categories. Before we talk about how to answer, you need to know what kind of questions you're answering. Most people lose points not because their English is weak, again, but because they don't see what the question is asking them to reach. When I look at many academic discussion questions, I like to group them into 3 patterns. This is just a teaching tool, not official ETS terminology. These questions require your example to reach a specific outcome stated or strongly implied in the professor's question. If your writing never reaches that endpoint, you go off topic, even if everything sounds logical. How common is this? In the academic discussion questions from the official paid practice tests I've taken, about 60% fit this pattern. This is also the pattern where many strong writers I teach lose points because they never actually reach the promised endpoint. These questions look like this. Some people believe that starting a business is better than working for a large company because it can lead to long-term personal stability, while others disagree. Which option do you think offers greater stability? Or something like this. Some educators argue that extracurricular activities are essential for building leadership skills, while others think academics matter more. Which do you think foster leadership skills more? Some believe that learning multiple skills is crucial for career development, while others argue that specialization is more important. Which approach do you think is more important for career success? So, again, this is a shortened version of the question prompt, okay? But it is the essence of the professor's question. So, you're not just choosing a side. Your example must arrive at the endpoint. For example, stability, leadership skills, career success. Category 2, questions with an open or constructed endpoint. These questions do not require a specific final outcome. Sample questions are like this. Some people believe doctors should maintain strict professional distance, while others think friendly relationships can improve medical care. What is your opinion? Some argue that managers should closely supervise employees, while others believe greater independence improves performance. So in your example, you don't have to talk about a specific outcome. It's pretty much up to you. So basically, it's asking you to between two things. Which one do you like the most, or which one do you think is better? You don't need to reach a fixed endpoint, but your example must still show a clear outcome. If you're taking the new TOEFL 2026 and want extra practice, timing, and scoring guides and updates as we collect more real results, there's a link below this video. Fill out the short form and I'll send them to you. Category number 3, questions about abstract or unprovable concepts. In the 8 paid mock tests that I've taken, I've only seen one academic discussion writing question that uses this more abstract style. The questions ask about ideas that cannot be proven directly. You're not expected to arrive anywhere. You only need to illustrate that concept is reasonable in your answer. Some sample questions. Some people believe true altruism exists, altruism meaning like helping other people, while others think people always act in self-interest. What do you think? Some argue that people are naturally cooperative, while others believe competition drives progress. Well, so it's very hard to prove these concepts unless, I guess if you study philosophy, you have a way to prove, but it's a human construct. Like, it's kind of hard to prove, right? So you just need to illustrate it with a believable example. Okay, so back to category number 1, question with a clear endpoint. These questions look easy, that's why they're a little bit dangerous. They point to a specific outcome, and if you don't reach that outcome, you go off topic. Here's a sample question. Some people believe that starting a business provides long-term personal stability, while others think working at a larger company is more reliable in terms of that. Which view do you agree with and why? So notice the key phrase, long-term personal stability. So that's the endpoint. So let's look at an off-topic answer example. Can you tell why it is off-topic? Let's think about it when we read together. I believe starting a business is a better career choice because it offers greater financial rewards and personal freedom. Entrepreneurs can directly benefit from their own effort, which motivates them to work harder and think more creatively. Unlike employees in large companies, business owners are not limited by fixed salaries or rigid promotion structures. Over time, successful entrepreneurs can expand their businesses, increase profits, and enjoy more control over their schedules. This independence allows them to pursue opportunities that match their interests and personal goals, making entrepreneurship a more attractive option overall. There's nothing wrong with grammar. There is nothing wrong with grammar. So can you tell why it's off topic? If you look at the entire answer, it doesn't really tell you anything about being an entrepreneur contribute to personal stability. Now, let's compare these two answers side by side. This is a sample I wrote myself to show what it looks like when an answer reaches the endpoint. Let's read it together. I believe that entrepreneurship can provide long-term personal stability. This is because running a business requires people to develop a wide range of practical skills. For example, when I worked at my first job at a large company, my tasks were limited to a narrow set of responsibilities. During a financial downturn, the company restructured, so I was laid off without any prior notice. Afterward, I started my own business, and I had to handle many different tasks on my own. Over time, this experience helped me build skills that I can use in different situations. I can find alternative sources of income more easily if challenges arise. My financial situation is therefore more stable in the long run. Okay. So when you compare it side by side, the answer clearly reaches the required endpoint. long-term personal stability. Okay, let's look at an example of questions with a more open endpoint. These questions don't name one exact outcome that you have to have, like the previous category. You're allowed to define a reasonable endpoint yourself. Okay, here's a sample question. Some people believe doctors should maintain strict professional distance from patients, while others think friendly relationships can improve medical care. What is your opinion? Okay, the question does not name a final outcome, so you choose one and you build toward it. So here's a complete answer. Let's read it together. Yeah. I believe doctors can form friendly relationships with patients without harming professionalism. This is because warmer interactions encourage patients to share important information. In the past, medical schools did not have courses on how to manage relationships with patients, so many doctors kept a strict professional distance during appointments. When communication felt normal, patients often gave limited descriptions of their symptoms. Because of this lack of details, doctors sometimes struggle to choose appropriate treatments. Today, medical training increasingly emphasizes approachable conversations with patients. As doctors now speak in a warmer manner, patients explain their conditions more clearly. With clearer information available, doctors can make better medical decisions and improve patient care. Okay, so the endpoint is chosen by the writer, which is, better medical decision, improve patient care. But the movement toward it is clear and consistent. Category 3, abstract or improvable concepts. This is quite rare. I've seen one practice questions in the paid mock test like this. The format is roughly like this. It asks about ideas that cannot be proven directly, such as moral beliefs or social concepts. Like, some believe true altruism exists, while others think people always act in self-interest. What do you think? So you don't prove them because it's very difficult to prove them, but you can illustrate them with a story, with an example. So here's an example. Shall we read together? I believe that true altruism does exist. When I was young, my community lived in extreme poverty, and we depended on financial aid from a wealthy donor. While receiving this support, many residents assumed it was not genuine. They believed that the donor was trying to gain influence or expected some form of future benefit from the community. As a result, this speculation caused widespread distrust toward the donor's intentions. Over the following decades, the donor has never asked for recognition, favors, or repayment of any kind. Even after this community became more stable, the support quietly continued without conditions. This long-term pattern strongly suggests that the assistance was motivated by concern for others rather than personal gain. So basically, you just read an example that shows altruism, giving without asking for return. So most people don't lose points because their writing is weak. They lose points because they miss what the question expects them to reach. They write logically, at least that's what they believe, but not toward the required endpoint or not knowing the question format. In the next video, I'll explain how AI scoring actually evaluates discourse cohesion and syntactic variety, why that process is sometimes very different from human judgment, and why optimizing for ChatGPT feedback, which we all do nowadays, often leads people in the wrong direction. If you've ever felt confident about an answer and still gotten a low score, that video will explain why.